Good morning guys, hope everyone's doing really well. In this short tutorial video, I'm just going to go over some very basic kind of EQ moves for a vocal. We're going to be using the channel EQ, which is Logic's stock plugin. It's a parametric EQ. For those more advanced, you're probably going to be using something like FabFilter Pro Q. This is very similar, it's the same kind of concept in terms of EQ. So with any video, the first thing I will say, obviously we have got our EQ stuff, we have got all the plugins we can use to enhance, but the most important part of this is the recording itself. Make sure when you're recording your vocals, you're hitting the right levels, you're as much as in tune as you can be, and your kind of discipline with the microphone is good. What we don't want is a recording that's got loads and loads and loads of problems before we've even got to the good stuff, because then you're going to spend so much time fixing it that by the end of that process you're probably going to be very bored of what you're trying to do and you'll just lose motivation. If you get it right from the start, it makes the whole process so much easier. That being said, today we will go through some stuff we can work on with this vocal. It is Pink Pony Club. It was performed very, very well by a very, very good singer. What we can do now is jump straight in. So this is the raw vocal with nothing on it whatsoever.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing.
So yeah, as you can hear, it's really a very good performance. Song's a banger as well. I'm a big fan of Pink Pony Club. Ever since I started doing these videos, Pink Pony Club was my number one. Moving forward, as you can hear, it does sound good. We did run it through a preamp where some of the heavy lifting has been done, although there's definitely things we can work on. And I'm just going to give you today a very broad, basic video on what we can do. So let's jump straight in. We're going to load up our channel EQ, and you can see I've already kind of worked on some stuff here. So I'm just going to explain what we're doing with it. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'll take it back 1 second. I'll undo all of this. We'll just take all this down. I won't worry about this for now. And I'll kind of tell you what I've done. Okay, so starting from the beginning. This whole range here, we don't need this. This is just room noise. You know, if you've got like whirring fans going on or your computer, just sounds of the room. They're not going to help us in any way. That's just going to cause mud. We obviously, when we're making productions, we're going to want the low end to be as clean as possible. If we're using basses and there's instruments that kind of want to live around this area, we don't need this, especially in a vocal. So we're going to cut that straight away. So if we play it back.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing.
So you can already hear that's doing quite a lot. I mean, some of the P's, they are a little bit plosive-y. They are coming through a bit too much, as you can kind of see down here. What this will do is it won't get rid of them completely, but it's definitely, at this stage, it's definitely taming them. There's a lot more we can do with that going forward, but we're going to keep it nice and simple today. So the next thing I'd look at doing, I've cut to around about 100. I'll leave that there for now. Everything's got to be done in context. Don't just do something because you saw someone else do it. Actually listen to what you're doing and make sure the moves you're making make sense to your ears. So I am going off what I did before, obviously, because I've already done this. But if I'm listening again, I'm hearing a little bit of a build up in the mids around this area. I'm never too harsh in this area because this is where I would describe the body. We don't want a vocal that's really, really crispy thin. We do want a little bit of body in there. So I normally cut around here no more than 3 dB. So if we play that back with and without. So this is without.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club.
So as you can hear, this area here, it can, when it's not tamed, it can make anything sound really boxy. These are like your boxy ranges. Especially in a vocal, we really don't want that. It's not what we're going for. So you need to find a good balance between warmth and boxiness. We don't want it to be too boxy. Hence, I've cut mainly in the 300 to 500 region. But you can see we're just trying to tame it. We don't want it to be, we're not going to go all the way. If we go all the way down here, it's going to sound so thin.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club.
As you can hear, that's way too thin. It sounds weird. We don't like that. So if we just around 3 dB is what I normally go for. I don't like cutting more than 3 dB on especially on my first. I'm just trying to sort the problems out. I'm not trying to change the vocal too much. I'm just trying to fix the problems at this point. So I'm going to leave that there for now. Maybe a bit less, about there. Okay, at that point, we're now moving up. Now 1K, this is very dependent on what you're hearing. It can get a bit nasally in this region, but you can also boost here to add a bit more clarity. I normally, when I'm looking for clarity, I'm normally looking between 2 to 4K. I think on this occasion, I did decide to dip a little bit at 1K, but again, it's a very small move. It's 2 dB I'm going for here. So I'm just going to show you with and without. If I put that back there.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club.
So yeah, very subtle. Again, that one you can take your time on. I'm not a huge fan of sweeping. I normally listen to what I'm hearing and go off that. If I do need to sweep, I'll do it will be very, very surgically. I see some videos where people are sweeping every single frequency and then taking. The thing is, lads, if you boost anything by 12 dB at any frequency, it's going to sound awful. So by that logic, you're going to end up then dipping every single frequency, if that makes sense. So just listen, use your ears and decide. You might come back to this later and decide, you know what, I actually quite like that frequency there. I'm going to put it back in. It might work well in context. So don't worry too much about that. But I decided on this one that I just wanted to take out a little bit of the nasaliness. Okay, so going forward, I'm now looking at this region here. So we'll play it without.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club.
So again, I've just gone for a little boost in between 2 and 3K. Just want to get a little bit more clarity through and a bit more sizzle. Be very careful with the 3K frequency. I see a lot of people, including me, I'm just boosting myself, but be very careful how much you're boosting. 3K is the pain frequency. If you overdo 3K, it genuinely hurts. So just be very careful what you're doing there. Find a nice balance between what you've got here and what you've got here, and you won't go too far wrong. Just be careful when you're boosting around 3 to 4K, because that can be really, really harsh after a while. Okay, so again, I'm happy with where I am at the moment. I now want to add a little bit of high-end sizzle or air, as people would say. So I'm going to use a high shelf here, around 10K. And it's only going to be, I'm going to do 3 dB. Very, very subtle, and we'll see how that sounds.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club.
So you can just hear when I add that shelf, it just opens it up. It opens it up a lot more. You get that nice air in the vocal, that kind of sound we've come to expect of most commercial records these days. The vocals, they're very, very bright. And that 10K frequency, if you just boost it subtly, it does open it up lovely. Again, like I said before, the 3K, if you overdo that, it's just going to sound way too thin, really brittle, and it will fatigue your ears after a while. Anyway, so the main reason for this video was just to kind of show you the frequency ranges with the vocals, what they do and what we're looking for. Now this is just a rough draft. I would most likely listen to this a few times and come back to it, but for the sake of this video, I'm happy with where everything is. This isn't too far off what I would do, just starting off with vocals. Normally I wouldn't actually boost anything to start with. I do all my subtractive stuff first. I fix the problems before I enhance, but just for the purpose of this video, to show you what kind of sound you might want to be going for. This is something I would most likely do throughout my vocal chain. Okay, so we'll just play it in context with the actual track. So this is going to be without the vocal EQ.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood. I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. Pink Pony Club.
Yeah, so in my opinion, when I put on the EQ, the vocals are cutting through a lot more. They fit a lot better. Without the EQ, you're very much hearing that boxy sound. It is sounding boxy without the EQ. So even these small moves, we're looking at 3 dB cuts here and there. That one, we've got a not even 2 dB boost. It does make a difference. It's all about little pieces coming together. What you wouldn't want to be doing, or well, in my opinion here, is say cutting this, being like, oh, this is rubbish, I don't like this, I'm going to cut all that, and then being like, oh, but air is good, so let's boost that up, and then, oh, let's go for some clarity, let's boost that high, and oh, that's way too nasally if we get rid of that, because then you're going to end up with this.
Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the Pink Pony Club. I'm gonna keep on dancing down in West Hollywood.
That's really brittle, it's really harsh. I mean, that's hurting my ears, listen to that. There's a frequency here that's absolutely disgusting. So you don't want to be doing that. You want to just make it nice and subtle, because you're going to be using a few different tools when you're mixing vocals that are going to do some of this stuff for you, you know? Some of these cuts, you might want to use multi-band compression. You're definitely going to need a de-esser at some point around this region. So this is just a very basic skeleton for what you want to be doing. Okay, anyway guys, I hope this video helps and you might have learned something. My main message on this one is that less is more, and just use your ears, make sure you listen to what's going on and go from there. But that general consensus of get rid of the room noise, take out some of the boxiness, boost around here, because this is where you're going to get the clarity, and boost around here. At some point, if you do that in your vocal chain, you're not going to go too far wrong. There is more things we can work on and focus on, but for now, that's just a basic way to do your EQ when you're first starting out. Anyway guys, I hope this really helps, and if you like more videos, please feel free to hit the subscribe button, and don't hesitate to get in contact with me. And I hope everyone really enjoyed the video, and have an excellent day.